I'd like to apologize to subscribers because I've neglected this page for so long. In fact, I just realized that I misplaced my old video camera, so with this video I'll just record my voice and need to put in a lot of JPEGs. St. Thomas Aquinas wrote, "Fasting is practiced for a threefold purpose. First, in order to bridle the lusts of the flesh. Secondly, we have recourse to fasting in order that the mind may arise more freely to the contemplation of heavenly things. Thirdly, in order to satisfy for sins." With this video, we'll talk about how St. John of the Cross fasted. We know that St. John abstained from meat, eggs, and dairy during the fast. This wasn't just because he was an ascetic. All Catholics of his time abstained from these three things. In fact, in Gratian's textbook on canon law, he wrote, "It is appropriate that on the days that we abstain from meat, we also fast from all things whose origin is in the sowing of the flesh, that is, from milk, cheese, and eggs." Though fish was permitted, Gratian added, "A Christian is permitted food from fish to sustain his infirmity, but not to prick his appetite. For this reason, he who abstains from meat should never prepare sumptuous banquets of seafood." Unlike modern fasts, where we might have a quarter of a meal for breakfast and a half of a meal for lunch and a full meal for dinner, all Catholics at St. John's time would have eaten only one meal per day during a fast. Also, unlike modern times, all Catholics would fast on Sundays, meaning 7 days per week. And this is important to note because I've read on Facebook where some Catholics were adamant in insisting that it's sinful to fast on Sundays. Of course it is not. We know that St. John did not drink any alcohol or meat at any time throughout the year. And he wasn't a vegetarian because he cared about global warming or animal rights. He did it because meat tastes good, and his aim was to practice self-denial. As St. Thomas Aquinas indicated, when an individual tames the pleasures that come from eating, it's easier to tame other passions and desires as well. So if we want to fast like St. John of the Cross, there will be no alcohol or drugs. Coffee and caffeine hadn't been introduced to Europe yet, and when it was initially condemned. So coffee is not an option during a fast if we want to fast like St. John of the Cross. Also, there'd be no fast food, no soda, nor eating out at restaurants. So every year, St. John, like all the Discalced Carmelites, would start a fast on September 14th, which is the feast of the Exaltation of the Cross. So I need to apologize again. I should have posted this video about a week and a half ago. But it's still not too late to start this fast, because this fast goes all the way till Easter. And that's a 7-month-long fast. That's a long fast, and St. John of the Cross and the Discalced Carmelites did that every single year. I'm trying to emulate St. John of the Cross as best I can, and I encourage you to do the same thing. There's only really an upside to it. But I have to give you a full disclosure, and I'm pretty sure that I'd have trouble getting by on one meal a day, so I'm following the modern fasting rules of having a quarter of a meal for breakfast, a half meal for lunch, and then a full meal for dinner. I've been doing this for Lenten fasts, and it works pretty well for me. I'm pretty sure St. John of the Cross would have thought that I'm pretty soft, but if you can do it on one meal a day, you will be fasting like St. John of the Cross. For me, I always eat the exact same thing on a fast every day, and oddly I don't get sick of it. The routine helps me stick with the fast, and the monotony is in the spirit of the fast. For me, I have a protein shake for breakfast. During Lent, I use a non-dairy protein shake that Muscle Milk makes, and it tastes horrible, but it is non-dairy. And drinking something that doesn't taste great is actually in the spirit of the fast. And for lunch, I have a peanut butter sandwich, no jelly, on whole wheat bread. For dinner, I have a bean burrito. On that, I put cilantro, onions, and hot sauce. Interestingly, somebody once told me that bean burritos are very good for you. What I just described is a high-carb diet, but it still provides a calorie deficit. And at least for my metabolism, it will be accompanied by the accident of weight loss. Although it won't be drastic because it is high carbs. And that's probably a good thing because this is going to be a long fast. Also, I should note I have a family, and I'll most likely be eating a Thanksgiving meal and a Christmas meal. One of the Desert Fathers once wrote that if somebody offers you a meal while you are fasting, it's best to accept the meal out of charity. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'll be back again soon with another one, but in the meantime, please pray for the church.
Well, darling,